Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another live stream. So my name is Lara Ryan, and this is Complete Test Success. So today we are focusing on IELTS Writing Task 2. As normal, what's going to happen here is I will show you a question, and I'm going to get you to write the various parts of that question with me. As you write that, the various parts of the question, the various parts of the essay, excuse me, you will share it with me in the comments, and then I will be able to give you feedback. So if I see that you're making any language mistakes, if you're making any mistakes with vocab or grammar, I can point those out. If you're making if there are any issues relating to the task response or the coherence and cohesion scores, I can explain what mistakes you're making, and I can explain to you why they're wrong. And then obviously with that will allow you to improve your scores and hopefully avoid repeating those mistakes again in the future. As well as that, then, if anybody has any questions as we are writing that essay, feel free to jump in, ask whatever questions you have, and I will be able to respond with whatever information you are looking for. And that is pretty much how today's lesson is going to work. So to begin with, let me share today's question. Okay, so here's the question we're looking at today. So some people think that governments should take action to improve people's diets, while others believe it is up to individuals to make their own decisions about what they eat. Discuss both views and give your own opinion. Okay, so as per every single task 2 and task 1 question, we have to begin by writing the paraphrase. So that's my task for you to begin with. I want you to write your question, write your paraphrase, share it with me in the comments, and then I'll be able to give you some feedback about how to improve on what you've written and perhaps how to improve your scores. I have a new app here today, so excuse me for playing around with it a little bit. Yeah, so it's my first time using this particular app, so not as familiar with it as the one I had been using up until now. Hi, Miro. Welcome to the lesson. Okay, so Miro asks, if my grammar is error and my task response make a bit sense, but I can't manage to write properly, what band will I get? I mean, it depends how bad your grammar mistakes are. If your grammar mistakes are so bad that I don't understand what you're saying, well, then it's going to affect your task response score, no doubt about it. But if your grammar is like, you've mistakes in every sentence, but they don't interfere with, my ability to understand what you're writing about, that's completely different. You could still get a really good task response score. So it depends. It depends on the impact of those grammar mistakes. So yeah, you can make lots of mistakes and still get a high task response score, providing those mistakes aren't reducing the clarity. As long as I can still understand, then you're good. Another question from Miro. Sir, can I get personal feedback from you in personal chat? Yeah, so that's what we're doing today. I'm giving feedback to everyone. So right now, I want you to write the paraphrase. So what that means is you take this piece of text at the top where it says, some people think that governments should take action to improve people's diets, while others believe it is up to individuals to make their own decisions about what they eat. You need to rewrite that in your own words. That's what I mean by write the paraphrase. So write the paraphrase, share that with me in the comments, and then I'll have some feedback for you about that. the key to paraphrasing the question, where a lot of people go wrong, is they'll try to change way too much. So this is like the most common mistake, is where I see people trying to change every word, or they try to, but yeah, basically that they try to change every word. And what happens then is it becomes unclear, or the meaning changes. So what I'd say is just go bit by bit. So what I would say, the first thing you would do is take the first phrase. So some people. Now, depending on the student, you might be able to change this, or you might not be able to change this. So the first thing to decide is, do you know how to paraphrase that? So if the answer is no, I don't know another phrase with the same meaning as some people, well, then you copy it. You just write some people. Another student might have no problem. They might be able to change it to some individuals, or they might just change it to some. So those are your options. You could write some people, some individuals, some, whatever way you feel most comfortable. Once you're finished with the first phrase, move on to the second one. Think. Do you know another word with the same meaning as think? You might say believe, feel, argue that, whatever way you want to adapt it. Or again, maybe you don't know how to change that and you're just going to copy it. So again, you might copy the word think because you don't know another word with the same meaning. If you do know another word with the same meaning, well, then you will change it. So again, that's the goal. Once you're finished, you go to the next bit, and when you're finished, go to the next bit, and when you're finished, go to the next bit, and just go along phrase by phrase, changing the ones you can change and copying the ones that you need to copy. Don't make it more complicated than that, because if you do, you'll end up making mistakes where it no longer has the same meaning, or you'll make mistakes where it's no longer clear. So, you have to be realistic with your expectations of what you can or cannot do. Okay, so I have a comment here. Hi, Arjun. Welcome. Good to see you here. Lin Chung. I think individuals need to make their own decisions. So that would be your opinion. We'll do that later. So we will come to your opinion later on. But we need to paraphrase the question first. So the opinion will be next. Let's just start with the paraphrase. Okay. You said it is believed that. Again, take it. We have two different groups of people. So it's not that it is believed that government should take action. It's that some people believe that. And we need to highlight that it's some people, not all people, because then the next sentence, or the next part of it, the paraphrase, is talking about the others. So if we just say it is believed that and now we need to talk about the other group, well, we just set ourselves up for failure, because instead of saying some individuals believe that and then other people believe that, by just saying it is believed that, we don't have the option to open it up to the other side. The administration. Okay, Chung. So this is what I was saying about when you're paraphrasing, feel comfortable copying the words that you need to copy. So the word government and the word administration are not the same. They do not have the same meaning. So if you need to copy the word governments, that's fine. Just copy the word governments if you need to. No big deal. Nothing. It's not at all an issue. So the goal is change the words you can change, copy the words you cannot change. Okay, and Adil. Government should pay attention towards diet of people. However, it is argued by others that it is individual choice. So now here you've started with what government should do, and then you try to switch to the other side, but you can't do it. Like, we have to have the word some and the word other. Like, we need those to distinguish it as being different people. So if you present the first view without saying you're talking about some people, you cannot transition to what other people. It's some people and other people, not people and other people. It's not like there is this opinion and other people think. You can't. It has to be some and other. So you need to keep the word some and the word other in your paraphrase somewhere. Arjun says, nowadays, a bad diet is the issue for every single person around the world. That's not what the question says. No. And this just depends on where you learned to write an essay. And a lot of teachers tell their students to start with a background statement or a general introduction or something just to discuss the topic more generally. And that's where you get this idea where nowadays a bad diet is an issue for every single person around the world. That doesn't tell the reader what your essay is about. Your essay is about what this question says up here. So this sentence at the top of the question, that's what says what the question is about. So that's exactly what we need to say in our essay. You don't need to add extra stuff. And if anything, you're only complicating things. When you add something extra, you're just drawing attention away from the real topic. So are we talking about bad diets being an issue, or are we talking about who's responsible? And in the question, it's about who's responsible. So let's just focus on what we need to focus on. Okay, in your second sentence, you said, well, some people believe that parliament's not the same as governments. Again, copy the word if you need to copy it. If you know the word parliament and government are connected and they're similar and that they're used in the same context, but they don't have the same meaning. So if you know the word parliament, but you don't know how to use it properly, it's better just to copy the word governments. So don't force yourself to make mistakes. Okay. Well, some people believe that parliaments should play a significant role to improve citizens' diets. However, others argue, and then we need to finish that. Okay, so I'm going to take that. I'm going to take your writing there, Arjun, and we'll work with that. Okay, so just give me 1 second. I need to go into YouTube and find that here. Okay, so we'll take that. Now, what I would say, look, just to make your life as easy as possible, and this isn't necessarily a strict requirement of the IELTS test, but what I would say is what you can do to make your life as easy as possible is just, like I said, take the first phrase, paraphrase that. When you're finished, take the second phrase, paraphrase that, and just move along phrase by phrase. Now, the question didn't say anything about nowadays. So that's something that you've added. It's not something that came from the question. So what I would encourage you to do is don't add anything or adapt it. Just whatever the question says, you say the same thing. Right. So let's remove that first sentence. Now, you've said, well, some people believe that, and I'm going to change that to governments, should play a significant role. Well, it's not that they should play a significant role. It's that they should do it. So should not play a role. So play a role would be one of many people doing something. But that's not the question said. It's that the government should take action to improve. So, take action to improve. Now, I know what you're trying to do. You're saying, look, take action to improve is in the question, and now take action to improve, I've copied that from the question, so that's not good. Well, yeah, fair enough. If you changed it, it would be better, for sure. But changing it in a way that makes the meaning different, that's not better than copying it. So, you have to be realistic, as I guess copying it is not the best option. Changing it correctly is the best option, but copying it is not the worst option. Changing it incorrectly is the worst option. So, if the middle is the best you can do, that's what you should do. Don't force yourself into the worst option because you want to be at the top option. Just make a realistic decision about what you're capable of. All right. Now, when we start a sentence with while, we would transition with a comma into the next clause. So while some people believe that governments should take action to improve citizens' diets, comma, others argue. Now the question said others, so let's try and adapt it. We'll say other people. And up here, the question said some people, so instead of us copying that, we can just say some. While some believe that governments should take action to improve citizens' diets, let's change this. Should be responsible. Should be responsible for improving. Citizens' diets. other people argue, and we need to finish this. We need to finish this. Other people argue that, and in the question it says, believe it is up to individuals to make their own decisions about what they eat. So we need to finish that. We're not finished this paraphrase yet. Okay. So let's have a look at Chung's writing here. Some individuals believe that it is highly advisable for the administrations, again, just say governments, to improve citizens' diets, while others suggest that under no circumstances should people underestimate the importance of their own diets. No, the importance of their own diets doesn't really give me a sense that you're trying to say they should make their own decisions. So that's not really obvious from what you've written there. Ahmad, hey Ahmad. Some individuals feel that improving public health is the government's responsibility. Good. Whereas others are of the view that such responsibility should be shouldered by the individual themselves. Lovely. Very good. I'm going to copy that now and I'm going to put it into our essay. So Ahmad. You're on Facebook. Okay, just give me one moment to jump into Facebook and find that. Just one moment now. Small little thing, you forgot to put the full stop in there at the end, which I can do. Okay, so you said others are of the view that such responsibility should be shouldered by the individual themselves. Okay, excellent. Now, with this question, that paraphrase is quite long already. All right. Now, normally I like to put my main ideas in the introduction, but what I'm worried about here is it's starting to feel like I'm running out of time. That was quite a long paraphrase. If I have to start putting my ideas into my introduction, that's 3 ideas I need to include. I'm going to abandon it. I'm just going to put in my opinion. Okay, so this essay will discuss both views, although I believe that, okay, we're going to have to come back there. I'm not sure what I believe yet. Obviously, I'm going to either agree with the first view or the second view, but right now I am undecided because I don't know what ideas I am going to use in my essay. So that's my next task for you guys. Can you tell me what ideas can I use in this essay? Okay. Right, so that's the next task. You can see it down there at the bottom of the screen. What ideas can I use in this essay? So we're going to need ideas to support the first view and ideas to support the second view. Our ideas need to be relevant and they need to be specific. So those are the requirements of our ideas. I want you guys to share whatever ideas you come up with in the chat. If there are any problems, I'll tell you why they are inappropriate. If they are suitable, I will add them to the screen. But basically, it's going to be this. I need one idea for my view, one idea for the first view, one idea for the second view, and one idea for my opinion. Okay, so we do need to have the question on screen. So let me just pop this up here next to the question. And that's what we're looking for here. So yeah, please share your ideas with me and then we'll choose some to add to the screen. If you have any good ideas, we'll add them. If you have any ideas that are not suitable, obviously we will not. Okay. Chung, both of you will be meticulously scrutinized, that's a spelling mistake, in this essay before giving my favor to the latter. This would result in a band 6 for coherence and cohesion. This is mechanical. This is mechanical coherence, where you've learned this sentence somewhere and you like it. You think it looks good. So what you've done is you've decided what you're going to write in the essay for discuss both views and give your own opinion. You've decided what you're going to write in the essay before you even see the question, right? This is going to result in a band 6. This is mechanical coherence. This is why in my essay, or our essay, let's say we're writing it together, I haven't finished this sentence yet because I want to refer to whatever view it is that I'm talking about. I don't want to finish that sentence with something generic like you've shared with me now, because that could potentially result in a band 6 for coherence and cohesion. So we don't want to have these kind of pre-selected sentences that just cover everything without really needing to see what the question is about. Wait until you see the question and then decide what to write. Hey, Stan, good to see you here. Stan says, some argue that the authorities, not always the government, it could be police as well, would be considered as authorities sometimes. So yeah, it may or may not be. It's not really governments. It's not a direct translation or a direct synonym. So some argue that governments should put effort into improving individuals' diets, whereas others think people are responsible for their own dietary habits. Yeah, but we'll just use the word should, Stan. We'll say others think people should be responsible, and everything else looks good. So just change authorities back to governments and change are to should be. Yep, but everything else very strong there, Stan. Good to see you here. Arjun, is it correct to use some believe that if we don't use people, that can we just... Yeah, so some is a synonym for some people. So you can say some or some people, and that has the same meaning. That's fine. If you would prefer, if you're not comfortable with that, we could say some individuals. So I can just pop down here, while some individuals. That's absolutely fine as well. Either way is acceptable. Sir, can you please help me take few speaking mock test, please? Yeah. So I have that service. Let me share the link. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the link, if you go to the description of this video, the link is there. And I can share it with you in the comments here as well. Hang on a second, I'll just share it in the comments. Okay, so if you look there, you'll see one-on-one corrections and IELTS courses and the link. So click on that link and you'll find the you'll find that service there. Arjun. Lynn, view and individual with S. Is this a mistake? Is this a mistake in my writing? There might be a mistake in my writing. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. We'll find it later. That's fine. That's fine. Thanks, John. I think we will use the second idea. We have to discuss both views. So the question says discuss both views and give your own opinion. So we have no choice in the matter. We've been told to discuss both. Now, very, very often where candidates will get a band 5 for this question type is they will discuss their opinion more than discuss both views. So what they might do is, I think the first group is correct and here's why they're correct. I think the second group is wrong and here's why they're wrong. That would be band 5. So when they say discuss both views, it's why does the first group think they're correct? Why does the second group think they're correct? That's discuss both views. I've discussed why both of them think they're correct. And now outside of that, I'm going to discuss what I think. So the discussion of my opinion will not interfere with my discussion of the two views when I'm discussing those. Hi, Coran boy, good to see you here. Well, some argue that improving people's diets is the responsibility of governments. Good. Others think that this depends on individuals, what they eat. Right up until the end. This depends on individuals what they eat isn't right. You say, while others think what people eat depends on individuals. I think that's probably the easiest way to fix it. Ahmed, hi Lar. Aren't phrases like "this essay will discuss" supposed to be stock sentences or overused and should be avoided? At least this is what the British Council advises. So this is what we were talking about earlier, where you wouldn't want the whole sentence to be like that. So we were looking earlier on at the one that Chung shared, like this. Both views will be meticulously scrutinized in this essay before giving my favor to the latter. Like that whole thing is mechanical. But if you have like half a sentence being mechanical and the rest of it being okay, that's not a problem. Lost, where am I? Okay, here. Miro, people hold different opinions about the effectiveness of an individual's diet. That doesn't really make sense. The effectiveness of an individual's diet. Like, what individual are you talking about? And what makes a diet effective or not? So there's too many unknowns here in this sentence. But also remember, you don't need to write a background sentence anyway. So just paraphrase the question directly is a better approach. Okay, well, some believe that government should be responsible for one's diet, but who is one? One is the people in the country. So should be responsible for people's diets. I maintain that decision on diets should be... Okay. So I'd recommend delete that first sentence, make the change that I said from one's to, people or citizens' diets. The I needs to be a capital I, not a lowercase I. Chung. Yep. So that's about the mistake in the writing. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, both views and individuals. I see what you're talking about now. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Chung. Quarumbai. First idea is that governments are more efficient in terms of improving citizens' diets as they can implement strict rules to ban some unhealthy foods, including sugary products. Okay, so more efficient, more effective. I'm going to say effective because efficient means maybe how fast, but maybe more effective. More effective. effective. Is this a bit vague though? I think I'm going to take your main idea, not that it's more effective, but that they can implement strict rules. So can implement strict rules. That's more specific, because if we say more effective, it's like, well, why are they more effective? In what way are they more effective? And it's kind of open to interpretation, where many different people might imagine that in different ways. Whereas when you say they can implement strict rules, it's like, okay, yeah, they're going to enforce rules that will directly influence the situation. So those are the two requirements for every idea. Your idea has to be relevant and it has to be specific. And when I wrote down more efficient, that would be vague. One thing I will say as well, and it's probably something that I don't mention enough, when you're writing down your main idea, like when you're planning your essay before you write it, you should be able to write down your main idea in, like, let's say 5 words or less, 6 words or less, like keep it short. So if you need a full sentence to say what your main idea is, that can either mean that you're not sure what your idea is yet, or it can mean that when you're planning your essay and you're checking if your idea is suitable, it takes longer, it takes more time to check if it's okay. It's more difficult to check if it's okay. And also, when we're planning the essay first, we only have 40 minutes to plan and write the essay. So we're trying to get it done as quickly as possible. So if you see here, I've written down can implement strict rules. That's 4 words. There, I would say ideally, when you're writing your words, try to keep it to a minimum like that, where it's going to be, 4 or 5 words, 6 words, and then it's easier to check and it doesn't take as long. And you can be more confident that you know exactly what your idea is as well. Okay, the state is responsible. So start off with to some, and it's easier that we know it's an opinion before you say it. The state is responsible. Some say that the state is responsible. It's not that it is, but that it should be, while others think the vice versa. That's not really clear. What is vice versa? Is that the government shouldn't be? What's the opposite of the government should be responsible? The government shouldn't be responsible. That doesn't clearly say that it's the individuals should make their own decisions. So again, vice versa, it feels like a quick way to get the job done, but it's not clear enough. So I wouldn't go with that. Yeah, of course, that's perfect. No problem. Okay, I think this type of essay, can I just agree with one side and include my opinion in the same paragraph without designating a whole paragraph, my opinion? You can, yeah, that's another way to do it. Yeah, certainly. If that's, look, it depends where you learn to write the essay. There are several different structures that you can follow. I mean, fully developing your ideas is an important part of the task response score. But as long as your ideas are fully developed, you don't have to necessarily put your an idea to support your own opinion. You can put your opinion in the introduction and then say nothing else about it until the conclusion. You can put your opinion at the end of the body paragraphs where you're discussing each view. You can do what I've suggested here. Okay, next one. Second idea is that people can stop themselves from eating some unhealthy foods. But they can, but why is it up to them? Why is it up to them to do it and not up to the governments to do it? So this actually isn't relevant. So what they can do and why they should be responsible aren't necessarily the same. So you're explaining what people can do. No, that's not suitable. It has to be what makes them responsible. Hi, Domenico. Good to see you here. Okay, guys, we're 35 minutes into the lesson. I want to kind of move forward. With this. Still in Mexico, Domenico. Hope you're enjoying yourself there. Okay, so why would the individuals need to make? Why should they be the ones to make the decisions? Because they are the ones who benefit. Okay, so they benefit or suffer, I suppose. And then my opinion, let's say I think individuals should be responsible. Why do I think that? Because governments can only control a small percentage of people. So governments have limited control, let's say. All right, so let's just go with this first idea here. I want to get at least one body paragraph finished. All right, so now I know what my opinion is. So while I believe that the responsibility should lie with individuals. Okay, so there's the introduction finished. Now that I've decided what my opinion is, we can just go with that. And now we need to write one body paragraph about the first view. So it's going to go something like this. It's going to be here. Say, those who feel that governments should be responsible. Feel that the best way to improve public health is to implement strict rules. Okay, so that would be my first sentence for body paragraph 1. And obviously we're going to have to develop that. So how are we going to develop this idea? When there are 3 paragraphs in our essay, when we have 3 ideas in our essay, we would be aiming to write about 70 words for each idea. So develop. How can we develop this idea? All right, so that's your next task for me. Decide how to develop this idea. Either we're going to give an explanation of how this would work or why this makes them responsible, or you can write an example. So yeah, in the chat, decide how to develop this idea, share it with me, and I'll have some feedback for you. Does background statement at the beginning of introduction impact overall score? No, not really, but it does take up some of your time. You only have 40 minutes. So that would be my concern, is like, are you sure you can finish the essay on time? And also it doesn't improve the score. So we're spending time writing sentences that don't help our score. And there's so much stuff we need to do already. So that's my issue is, just get down to exactly what you need and don't worry about the other stuff. Hi, Koala. Although it is argued that the government should be involved in improving people's diets, others believe that individuals should be free to decide what they eat. Yeah, that's very good. Very strong. I think just say, although it is argued by some, and then we'll have a more definite contrast between the 2 views. And when you introduce other, it's kind of like expected already. Domenico, very good. You've been busy. Good man. Okay, so we'll just wait another, let's say, 30 seconds there, and we'll see what ideas you have. Okay. Okay, looks like you guys aren't too comfortable with developing this idea. Let me just jump in. Okay, so we're trying to say why the government should be responsible. So because governments, let's say because they have the ability to increase the prices of sugar. No, strict rules to implement maybe new laws, let's say, or new taxes, I think would be clear. Because they have the ability to increase the price of sugary products, they will be able to have the biggest positive impact on public health, especially compared to waiting for individuals to make better decisions by themselves. Okay, how long is that? 58. If people were going to make good decisions about their diets, this wouldn't be a problem. Or, maybe like issues like obesity wouldn't exist, like that. Okay. So that's how we would develop it, something like that, explaining why the governments are the ones that should be responsible. So basically, they can drive up those prices, and that's far more effective than waiting for individuals, because if individuals were going to do the right thing, we wouldn't have any problems to begin with. Okay, so there's an example of how we could develop that first idea. From there, we move on to the next paragraph. We would write a full 70 words in response to the second view, saying how it's the individuals that benefit or suffer. And then we'd move on to our own opinion, write another 70 words about how government have limited control and they can't reach every single citizen. And if we can't expect individuals to do it themselves, then governments won't be able to reach them, whatever that would be. And then we finish off with a conclusion. And in that conclusion, we basically repeat our three ideas and we repeat our opinion. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up pretty soon. Let's just see if anyone has any questions or anyone wants to talk about anything here before I finish up. Okay, let's just wait one more minute. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll leave it at that for today. I will be back next week. We'll do another live stream next week and focus on another part of the test. So I'll see you guys again on Wednesday anyway. If you're in any social media groups or any IELTS groups or anything, share my page in the group. I've been doing this a long time and it's a very small channel still. So if you could help me with that a little bit, that'd be good. Share and like and subscribe and all that stuff. Okay, so it seems like that's it for today. I'm not getting any more questions or comments. So let's leave it at that. And next week we'll be back. I'll be back and we'll focus on another part of the IELTS test. Academic IELTS writing task 1 will be the focus for next week. So